Every business needs to innovate to stay ahead of the competition. If a company doesn't develop new products, someone else will, and this will result in loss of customers for the company. The consumer's needs are ever changing, and so is the offering by the seller. Innovations are inevitable. Improvements, enhancements, technological upgradation in the product or its process keep on happening, and hence no business can continue to offer the same unchanged product. Otherwise, sales would decrease and profits will be reduced. The reasons why developing new products becomes necessary are: consumers' needs and wants change continuously, and the firms have to respond to these changes through their products and services. Otherwise, consumers will switch to competitors' products. The existing products of the company may reach the end of their product life cycles, so the company may introduce new and improved and updated versions. The existing products of the company may be at the maturity stage where the sales have already reached their full potential and there is no further scope of growth. So it becomes necessary to introduce new products or make changes in existing ones so that the decline stage is pushed away. Environmental changes can force the company to introduce new products as a response to changed environmental factors such as government regulations like ban on plastic bags, changes in technology, for example, say music space, the progression of technology has caused a shift from cassettes to downloading of e-music files. Competitors may force change in the product. For example, the technology market where new products are constantly being introduced to a target market that welcomes change and innovation.
After studying this module of marketing management, we shall be able to understand the concept of new product development, identify the steps involved in developing a new product, appreciate the way consumers think by understanding the product adoption process, learn about various stages involved in the adoption process, and identify the individual differences in various types of consumers. The marketplace is dynamic and fast changing, and the consumer's demand for products is constantly shifting as needs, wants, and technology change. Thus, there is a need for continuously adapting products and creating ones that do not exist. As a result, companies must always evaluate their existing product line and look for ways to ensure that it is up to date and in line with consumers' desires. Continuous decisions must be made about whether new products should be added and whether old products should be removed from the market. The marketer's inability to respond aptly to the dynamic environment may lead to the consumers shifting away to a competitor's product. This requires a company to have a dynamic attitude and a need for new product development such that its consumers' needs and expectations are constantly met. According to Kotler, new product development means the development of original products, product improvements, product modifications, and new brands through the firm's own product development efforts. Let us now discuss the process of new product development. The process starts with idea generation. Every product has to start with an idea. In some cases, this might be fairly simple, and in other cases, it might be something revolutionary and unique. The first step generates lots of ideas, and this number is reduced in the second step, that is, idea screening, to find the most attractive options. An idea's potential is evaluated in terms of sales, production costs, profit potential, and competitors' response if the product is introduced. Acceptable ideas move on to the next step, that is, concept development and testing. Defining a new product concept and testing it with the target market helps the company to determine whether the new product idea will be a success. A product concept is a detailed description of an idea from the perspective of the prospective customer. In the process, the company has to ensure that the idea can be designed. A company produces a product or a service and announces it to the market. At that point, the consumer adoption process begins. This is where the consumer decides to become a new customer and purchase or reject the product. The five stages are awareness, interest, evaluation, trial, adoption. Another stage commonly not identified in market research is the internalization stage.
The internal sources of the idea generation are customers. The company can have direct feedback and also knowledge about customers' changed preferences and needs. Number 2, formal research and development. Research and engineering department may help many companies to develop new products, and indeed many companies do have a specialized department set up where new products are constantly being developed. Management of the company can also contribute to the development of a new idea for a product. Sales force, since these people constantly deal with the customer and have the feedback from the customer about their changed requirements, therefore they can give direct feedback on product improvements, enhancements and customer preferences. Employee suggestions, executives, developers, staff, salespeople, top management, that is anyone in the company who has a suggestion to offer. In innovation groups, these groups work constantly to nurture innovative ideas. Stakeholders of the company, and the external sources are competitors. The company's competitors are any company which is already in market and has a great product to offer. Companies have to be aware of products in the market and constantly evaluate ideas of which products can be developed. Distribution channels. The distributors are an important link between the customers and the company. They know the exact market situation of the company and its competitors. Hence, they have many important ideas and suggestions to give to the company. Consultants may be formally hired by the company to have a steady supply of ideas. They are engaged when the company wants somebody to look up the external environment for them. Academic journals provide the latest research with facts that are tested in the market. They can also act as guides for the future course of action to the company. Periodicals and other press. Government agencies, they formulate rules and policies. For example, with a recent change in Indian political scenario, the new BJP government is making pro-development policies. This will lead to a change in the marketplace as new policies will be framed and change the way work was usually being done. Commercial laboratories, they are individual labs doing constant research, and the ideas can be picked from them for a fee. Inventors, they innovate and companies can purchase their innovations for commercial development.
The first stage, awareness, is most important, and it is also where marketers put in a lot of effort and money. If consumers are not aware that the product or service exists, how can the company expect the consumers to buy it? Advertising the product to consumers is hard work to make sure that the correct image is developed and the product is desired. Examples of advertising may include media or print advertisements.
When a company produces a product or service and announces it to the market, at that point the consumer adoption process begins. This is where the consumer decides to become a new customer and purchase or reject the product. Another stage, commonly not identified in marketing research, is the internalization stage. The first stage, awareness, is most important and is also where marketers put a lot of efforts and money. If consumers are not aware that the product or service exists, how can the company expect the consumers to buy it? Advertising the product to customers is hard work, and to make sure the correct image is developed and the product is desired. Examples of advertising may include media or print ads. The second stage is interest of the consumer. This stage is when the consumer becomes aware of the product and searches out information. A popular method of searching out information is the internet. A company's website tells a potential customer what it looks like, its specifications, its price, ways to purchase, and much more. Technology has played a big role in today's website advertising, guaranteeing interactive information and data collection. Next are the stages of evaluation and trial, where the consumer thinks if this product or service is good, and more importantly, how this product can be beneficial to them. When consumers believe the product is good and it can benefit them, by buying it, they are more likely to purchase. The consumer decides if it suits their needs or wants. To entice consumers, sometimes marketers will provide samples or trials of their product. This gives consumers a taste of what the product really is, how it works, and shows them its benefits. Also, coupons or introductory sale prices are given as motivation to try the product out for a reduced price. Finally, is the adoption stage. The Business Dictionary best describes this stage by explaining, inverted, the customer moves from a cognitive state, being aware and informed, to an emotional state, liking and preferences, and finally to the behavioral or cognitive state, deciding and purchasing. The stage commonly left out of the consumer adoption process, internalization, is the long term stage. This is similar to a customer becoming loyal to a brand loyalty. Internalization is when the beliefs and attitudes of the consumer are changed. This stage is the long-term goal for every marketer and company. Internalization of a consumer is changing their buying habits or behaviors to purchasing their product or service only. These stages are protocol at the beginning of every new product or service, but are routinely followed whenever a consumer is shopping. The product may not be new to the market, but it is new to them. This is why continuous advertising is necessary and why marketers need to constantly keep making consumers aware of what they have to offer.
The second stage is interest. This stage is when the consumer becomes aware of the product and searches out more information. A popular method of searching out information is the internet. A company's website tells a potential customer what the product looks like, its specifications, its price, ways to purchase it, and much more. Technology has played a big role in today's website advertising, guaranteeing interactive information and data collection. Next are the stages of evaluation and trial. The customer thinks whether this product or service is good, and more importantly, how it can be beneficial to them. When consumers believe that the product is good and it can benefit them, they are more likely to purchase it. The consumer decides if it suits their needs and wants. To entice consumers, sometimes marketers will provide samples or trials of their product. This gives the customers a taste of what the product really is, how it works, and shows them the benefits. Also, coupons or introductory sales prices are given as motivations to try out the product for a reduced price. The adoption stage. The Business Dictionary best describes this stage by explaining the customer moves from a cognitive state of being aware and informed to an emotional state of liking and preference, and finally to the behavioral or cognitive state of deciding and purchasing. The stage commonly left out of the consumer adoption process, internalization, is the long term stage. This is similar to a customer becoming loyal to a brand, that is, brand loyalty. Internalization is when the beliefs and attitudes of the consumer are changed. This stage is the long term goal for every marketer and company. The internalization of a consumer is changing their buying habits or behavior to purchasing their product or service only. Let us now move on to discuss the theory of diffusion of innovation. It is a theory that seeks to explain how, why, and at what rate new ideas and technology spread through cultures. The origins of the diffusion of innovation theory are varied and span multiple disciplines. Everett Rogers, a professor of rural sociology, popularized the theory in his 1962 book, Diffusion of Innovations. He said, diffusion is the process by which an innovation is communicated through certain channels over time among the members of a social system. The product adoption life cycle describes the way a new product progresses through its lifespan, from the time it is first introduced to the marketplace until it is no longer available. New products are initially adopted by innovators who represent 2.5% of the market. The next class of consumer who will adopt the product are the early adopters who make up 13.5% of the market. They are followed first by the early majority and then by the late majority, who each represent 34% of the market. As the product enters its final stage of the product adoption life cycle, it is adopted by laggards who make up the final 16% of the market. These five different types of consumers will all react differently to the anti gravity belt. Each consumer group will adopt the anti gravity belt at different times and for different reasons. Innovators. They are venturesome. Although they make up a very small part of the total market, innovators play a very important role. They are interested in anything new and are quick to adopt new and innovative products. Innovators know about the anti gravity belt months before it is introduced and are ready to pay a high price to be among the first to have this new product. Early adopters. They are young and restless. Early adopters are opinion leaders. They pay attention to what the innovators have discovered and find a practical use for the innovation. They then communicate it to their followers about the usefulness of the new product. They play a very important role by influencing the attitudes and changing the behavior of the later adopters. Early majority. These are the value shoppers. They carefully observe the early adopters but wait to adopt innovative products until they are sure that they will get value from them. The early majority will only adopt a new product if they are sure that the new product will provide usefulness to their lives and not be a waste of their time and money. Even after hearing about the new product, the early majority waits until they have seen advertising and read articles in the paper about the benefits of the anti gravity belt before adopting the product. Majority. They are skeptics. They wait until an innovation has been accepted by a majority of consumers and the price has dropped to adopt the new product. The late majority typically adopt innovative products because they feel that if everyone else is doing it, they also should. 5 years after the anti gravity belt is invented, a member of the late majority buys an anti gravity belt only because his son tells him he wants one so that he can play basketball with all his friends who already have one of it. Laggards. They are the traditionalists. They are the last to adopt a new product. Laggards are content with what they have and they adopt new products unenthusiastically and only because they feel that they have to do it. 10 years after the anti gravity belt is invented, the government mandates that anyone who climbs a ladder must wear an anti gravity belt. Because they have been forced to do so, the laggards will then adopt the new product. Let us now discuss how the marketers should use the product adoption life cycle. The companies that introduce new products in order to be successful must understand how the five classes of consumers adopt to their innovations. Some products are quick to pass through the adoption life cycle and some may take decades, but they are all adopted through the same process. Companies must first find the innovators of their new product and direct their promotional message at them. As the innovation gains momentum and is accepted by the early adopters, marketers must understand that this group of adopters will determine if their new product is a success or a failure. The early adopters must find a practical use for the product and communicate the benefits to the later adopters in order for the product to progress to the early majority. As the later stages adopt the innovation, marketers must understand that price will play a more important role in buying decisions and must therefore convince buyers that their product will have value to them. Let us now summarize what we have learned in this module. In this module, we have discussed the need for the new product development, the steps of new product development, consumer adoption process, and finally, we have discussed the product adoption life cycle and the different types of consumers.
To summarize, we can say that the consumer's needs are ever changing and so is the offering by the seller. Thus, there is a need for continuously adopting products and creating ones that do not exist. New product development means the development of original products, product improvements, product modifications, and new brands through the firm's own product development efforts. A new product is developed by following a series of steps. These are idea generation, idea screening, concept development and testing, marketing strategy development, business analysis, product development and test marketing. The adoption process is a set of successive decisions an individual person or organization makes before accepting an innovation. Diffusion of a new product is the process by which an innovation spreads throughout a social system over time. A consumer passes through 5 stages while adopting a new product. These are awareness, interest, evaluation, trial and adoption.